Welcome back to Beyond English, Unlocking the Power of Language. I'm Teacher Steve, and this is Essay Writing 2. 6 types of essays and all you need to know. This video, I'm going to be looking at 6 types of essays, the 5 components of each of these essays that you need to be aware of, the 6-step essay writing process, and a few other tips that will make you effective, competent, and confident essay writers. Let's get into it. Okay, so what are the 6 types of essays? Well, number 1 is a narrative. This tells a story or recounts a personal experience. A narrative is a story, so a narrative essay tells a story or recounts a personal experience in story form. Number 2, an expository essay. This explains or informs clearly and logically. So you use clarity and logic to explain or inform your reader about a topic, idea, text, or event. An analytical essay, this analyzes, breaks down, examines, or analyzes an idea, text, topic, or event. An argumentative essay, this is where you argue for or against a point using evidence and logic. It's important that an argumentative essay uses evidence and logic to argue for or against your point. A persuasive essay, this is designed to convince your reader to adopt a certain belief or take a certain action. So with a persuasive essay, you want to convince the reader to believe something or do something. And the last one, a reflective essay. This explores thoughts and personal growth related to a specific experience, idea. So with a reflective essay, you think and reflect on aspects of an event or an experience or an idea as they pertain to your development and growth. Okay, let's look at the 5 components of an essay. We'll look at each of these with regard to the 6 different types of essays because they vary. The first is your purpose, the author's purpose, the reason that you're writing the essay. Is it to explain, persuade, inform, argue, analyze, or tell a story? So the first thing to look at is your purpose, the reason for writing the essay. The next thing is the tone. This is the feeling or attitude that comes across in your writing. You need to take particular notice of the audience, people or person that you're writing for. And is your tone going to be serious, formal, informal, academic, humorous, or a combination of these? Next is the structure. This is how your essay is organized. Every essay will have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. But how each of these is organized, that's your paragraphs and the content of these paragraphs, very much depends on the reason that you're writing. Next is the content. This is the main ideas and the information that will appear in your writing. Facts, opinions, examples, and explanations. These are all aspects of content that may appear in your essay and very much depend on the type of essay that you're writing. And lastly, the approach, how you choose to write and present your ideas, giving examples, asking questions, comparing things, using dialogue. These are part of your style of writing and your approach to writing, and that will depend on the essay, the audience, and the content. Let's have a look at the 6 types of essays and the 5 components of each one. A narrative essay. The purpose of a narrative essay is to tell a story or recount a personal experience. The tone is informal and reflective. It's like having a conversation, like the tone and approach of the old-time storytellers. The structure includes an introduction, which has a hook to get the reader involved and sets the scene for the rest of the story. The body paragraphs are where the events happen. It's where the conflict or problem is introduced, comes to a head, and resolved. And your conclusion is a reflection or lesson learned so that the reader is left with something to think about or contemplate once they finish. The content can be real, fictional, a personal story, or a combination of all of those things, and it must include a conflict or problem, a climax, and then a resolution to that conflict or problem. The approach, your introduction has a hook to grab the reader and it sets the scene. You show, don't tell. Use descriptive language to get the reader feeling the experience and emotionally involved. And then your conclusion must leave them something to think about. So a good narrative doesn't tell what happened, it lets the reader feel what mattered, what was important, so that they get involved in the story. The purpose of an expository essay is to explain or inform the reader clearly and logically. You want to use clarity and logic to explain or inform the reader of something. The tone is formal and objective. It's not casual, and there is no personal opinion. It's totally formal and objective. Your introduction introduces the topic and a thesis statement. This is a main point and the approach that you're going to take. Your body paragraphs, each paragraph explains one main point. And your conclusion is a summary where you bring everything together and leave the reader with a final thought. The content includes facts, explanations, and how-to information. There is no opinions, no personal bias, nothing subjective. Completely objective facts, explanations, and how-to information. You begin with a clear thesis statement. Use topic sentences for each paragraph and support these topic sentences with facts, examples, and statistics. You must avoid emotional language and personal bias. So, in an expository essay, clarity is more important than creativity, and the explanation that you have in this essay is the bridge between knowledge and understanding. The purpose of an argumentative essay is to argue for or against a point using evidence and logic. You must use evidence and logic. Your tone is formal and persuasive. You use formal language because that's a language of authority and it's also respectful, while at the same time being persuasive. Your introduction must have a hook, a background to your argument, and a thesis statement with your position clearly stated. Your body paragraphs need to have 2 paragraphs that argue for your position, along with evidence, and a counter-argument, your 3rd paragraph, with a rebuttal of the opposing side. Your conclusion restates your thesis, and there's a call to action where you want the reader to do something as a result of being convinced by your argument. Your content makes a clear claim and supports it with evidence, facts, and logical reasoning. Your approach must be one of research. You need to research both sides of the issue and use credible sources. You need to understand the other side so that you can include a strong rebuttal to the opposing side's point of view or argument. A strong argument respects the other side but stands firmly on its own. Logic is the voice of reason, and you must use logic to lead the reader to be convinced of what you are arguing for or against. In a persuasive essay, we want to convince the reader to adopt a belief or to take an action. We want them to believe something or to do something. Our tone and language are passionate and emotional, yet logical. Allow your passion and emotion to come through in your writing, but maintain the logic of your argument. Your introduction has a hook and a thesis. The body of your essay, 3 paragraphs, use the 3 persuasive techniques of ethos, pathos, and logos. 1 paragraph for each. And in your conclusion, you summarize the essay and make an emotional appeal for the person to believe or to do, to adopt a belief or to take an action. Your content, the language, you use emotive language, rhetorical questions, repetition, and anecdotes. If you use these correctly, then your argument will become convincing. You must use the 3 persuasive techniques of ethos, which establishes credibility and uses credible source. Pathos, where you appeal to the reader's emotion, and logos, where you logically summarize why they should believe what you're asking them to believe or do what you're asking them to do. You need to choose a position that you truly believe in. It's hard to write a persuasive essay if you're not convinced yourself. And you need to use real life examples or stories to justify and back up your argument and the stance that you're taking. The most persuasive voices don't shout, they connect. You need to connect with your audience. So you need to understand your audience, who they are, and connect with them using language, stories, and examples that they can relate to. Persuasion is part passion and part proof. You must use both wisely. If you have all passion and no proof, you won't convince them. If you have all proof and no passion, you won't convince them either. So you have to get the correct balance between passion and proof. Now, the purpose of an analytical essay is to break down and examine an idea, text, or topic. Your tone, your language needs to be academic and thoughtful. You need to show that you've been thinking about what you're reading and what you're writing about. The introduction, you establish a context for the essay and write your thesis. In the body paragraphs, each must analyze a specific part or aspect. So don't mix them up. One paragraph, one point, one specific part or one aspect. And your conclusion, you must show some insight into what you're analysing along with a final evaluation. The content depends on what the essay is about. It can be literary analysis, theme studies, character exploration, or development. You focus on one central idea in the essay, use quotes and examples from the text to back up and support what you're writing about. You must avoid summarizing. Analyze and interpret. Analysis is not summarizing. You must stay close to the evidence. An analysis is looking beyond the surface to understand the soul of the text. It's what you see and what you read deeper than just the words on the surface. Don't just say what you see, explain why it matters. A reflective essay explores your thoughts, feelings, and personal growth relating to a specific experience or idea. The tone and language are personal and introspective. In your introduction, you must establish the context for the essay and the significance of what you're going to write about. In the body, you write about what happened, how you felt, what you learned. And in the conclusion, this is where you write about how it shaped you or changed you. The content is your thoughts, feelings, lessons, and change, and your approach must be honest and thoughtful. You need to link personal experience to broader ideas or questions and show development in your thinking and character. An important thing to realize is that reflection is you writing about your experience, what you learned, and how you felt. Reflection turns that experience into wisdom. A reflective essay is a mirror. What you see depends on how deeply you look. The more you practice, the better you get at something like this. And it's an essential life skill, not just an academic skill. Okay, I'll just review the 6-step process to writing a well-structured essay. I've covered this in other videos, but it's important we go over it again. Number 1, understand the prompt. Get clear on the question, the topic, what you are being asked to do, what type of essay you're being asked to write. Number 2, research and gather your information and ideas. You need to read, research, brainstorm. You can't write what you don't know about, and it has to be specific to the type of essay you're going to write. Then you need to plan and outline, get organized, follow the appropriate structure. Make sure that the content that you have and the order that you have it in and the way you're putting it together is relevant to the type of essay that you're writing. Once you've done that, then you can write your first draft. Keep your ideas clear, get them down on paper. Don't be too concerned about grammar or complexity or the way the essay flows. That's for the next step, step 5, where you revise and edit. This is where you construct your masterpiece. You look at the flow, the coherence, the grammar, the sentence variety, and the structure of your paragraphs. And the final step, number 6, is to proofread. Finalize your essay, proofread it, read it aloud. because that's a good way of looking at how the essay comes across to someone who's reading it. Read it aloud and polish it before publishing it and submitting it. Okay, here's my final thoughts as we come to the end. Essay writing is more than a school task, it is a life skill. Each type of essay develops different ways of thinking, communicating, and expressing yourself. So it's important you get good at all types of essay writing. With practice, everyone can become confident and competent essay writers ready for academic and real-world challenges. All you've got to do is put in an effort, follow the process, understand the structure, and put your essay together. Good writing doesn't begin with a pen, it begins with thinking clearly. Know what you're going to write about and know how you're going to write about it. Structure is not a cage, it's the skeleton that gives your ideas strength. The structure is there for a reason. Build upon it. An essay is your own voice in written form. Make it worth hearing. What are you trying to say and why should we listen to you? The better that you get at writing essays, the more people will listen to you and respect what you have to say. So it's worthwhile putting in the effort. Okay, that's it for Essay Writing 2, 6 types of essays. All you need to know. I'm Teacher Steve from Beyond English, Unlocking the Power of Language. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and watch all the videos on essay writing and types of essays. And leave a comment if you've got something worthwhile to say. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Chat soon. Bye-bye.